Good afternoon. There's one way to make sure we have a quick business meeting is to have it at 4 o'clock after everybody's been in sessions all day. So it's like people have probably reached that saturation point, but now that they hear the microphone going, I see more coming in the back. So that's good. Let's give them a second to come in. We've got, I'm going to go ahead and establish a quorum. The bylaws say we need to have 15 members present, and I'm looking in the room. I can tell that we have more than 15 member agencies present, so I will go ahead and say that we've got a quorum, determine that it's been set, and we'll call the meeting to order. Another tradition that we've got is for us to stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance, and I've asked Sherry to lead us in the pledge, so if she will. All right, what we're going to do is I'm just going to kind of, under the President's remarks, I think it's been a great year for GMIS this year. I want to recognize the efforts and the work and the dedication and the perseverance that we've done by the board and all the committees. It's again, as you've been hearing me say throughout the conference, and any other time you're at the situation where you have to sit and listen to me talk, I always talk about the value of the organization is the membership, and it's you. The board believes that just as much as anybody else, and you can tell that from the activities and the effort that's gone into the organization this year, it's alive and well. So they've done an outstanding job for you, for the organization, and for everything. I want to be able to stand here and say to the board, thank you for everything you've done, because that's where the action is. And it's good stuff. It's really good stuff. One of the things we've been doing, though, is as we work to bring this organization to really where it should be, and not that any place that it's been is the wrong place to be, it's just things need to keep moving. And as we keep moving things along, we seize opportunities when we get them. Several years ago, even before I was on the board and coming through, I know, Johnny, you're in the back of the room, you were on it, and some of the others. We're part of a decision to make some strategic changes to have the international start hosting the conference themselves and stop the practice of putting the burden on a state chapter. And it gives the organization the opportunity to create some consistency and some just consistency year after year. And we wanted to, as an organization, to take advantage of that because it just makes for a better event. In times, if it went to the same state every 10 years, that's a whole new board and a whole new group, and then they're having to do it for the first time all over again. And instead of doing the first time, so leveraging off of that decision a couple of years ago, we then have continued the strategic planning process and changed even the way we do our board meetings as we meet. And about 18 months ago, instead of having a recap and understanding and make everything in place for the organization, we have a management company that runs things for us. And then we strategically plan out where should we be, we set goals, and we determine how we should get there. As a group, we have one goal: grow membership. That's it. Because we have something that's good, and we know that we want to take that opportunity to share it with other people. The bigger the organization, without being unwieldy and dying from our own weight, but it gives us a greater reach and a greater opportunity to share the information that we've got there. We've defined a vision. The vision of our organization is to be the premier organization for IT leaders. It's just, we're looking for IT leadership, and that's what we're hitting on. The mission is to leverage our collective knowledge of us, the vendors. That's what we do. It's that whole networking and opportunity to be together. What we've done this time was just really kind of focus on what is our primary purpose, and we are a community of opportunity. And we've got the opportunity, but the community, you heard me mention that the other day, is what's important for us. We don't want to become so that we don't know who each other is. We want to maintain that friendship, that ability to pick up the phone, the ability, there's nobody's, if you're a shop of one, if you're a shop of 1,000, it doesn't matter. We're in this together, and we're a resource for each other. So that stuff is really good. And it gives us that focus. So we're able to leverage that. The good thing that we want to make sure we didn't lose, though, is we didn't want to only be municipal. We didn't want to only be county. We didn't want to only be state. That is where we see there's a great value. Education. Everything that's in our charter and our bylaws, that's good stuff. So that's kind of what's been going on. You've seen that, last year we reported with the Chicago conference, we had some financial issues with that. But as you do with your organizations, and anytime you pick a project, you pick up something else, and you change the way you're doing business, any kind of change management that you've got to do, you're going to see the impact on the momentum any organization has. The analogy that I've been using in my own head is just watch a jet take off from an aircraft carrier. When you change the constant, I'm on the boat, the first thing you see anything do is it takes off, and it dips, and it goes. It's exactly what happened as we changed our focus, and we implemented a new strategy, and we took a new direction as to what we're doing. The Chicago conference there's nothing wrong with it. We spend money to educate and to provide opportunity and to network. It cost us more than we took in. Yes, it did. But it's still within what our organization is. And it was still in a strategic and a managed change. And if you see any other kind of change management, that's exactly what happens. In your own organization, you see the dip in productivity, and then you see the impact of the change, and then you see productivity rise. This conference, I think, is an example of that. Last year's conference to this year's conference, you see that impact of that change, and you see that it was a good change. So I think that's really good stuff. Just like we saw in the NASCAR games, it was kind of fun to watch the folks on this going through the laps and stuff, and okay, I got it, or I got it, and you're going, and things are moving, and that guy comes along and runs right through you, and then your full momentum's gone, and you got to reset. It was kind of fun to watch some of you just be completely vaporized from the screen. I can laugh because I didn't drive, so I don't. It's like we're going to share the love anyway. But so that's kind of what we've got. What we have done, some of the things that have been accomplished this year, is we've put some things in place, and we've kind of polled different areas. We put together the Industry Advisory Council last year. That was our first meeting. We've got 1 year under our belt. The purpose of that was to hit some of the high-level vendors, the big guys, the big names, and we invited them to share with us and collaborate with us and say, they send people that go to industry things all over the place, all over the world. So when they go, what are their criteria for choosing which ones we want to hit? So let's pick their brain. We had 8 of them. We had Microsoft. We had, now I told you they're going to all pop out of my brain. We had SHI, we had CDWG, we had IBM, and more. What's that? Motorola. So we had lots of the different folks on the committee with us, and it was good. They came in at their expense. They sat with us and said, here's where we see. And some of those things were implemented. One of the things that we did was we reviewed the membership, and part of that was right there. We created, the feedback they gave us was saying, having an ability for a vendor or a corporation to be a member of GMIS means a lot to them because it shows that there's a reciprocal commitment, that we're not just the organization with our hand out saying, want to buy a booth? And it's that we value that commitment and relationship, not to the extent that we sell our soul or to the extent that we put them on the listserv or that they become voting members or anything like that, but it just shows a commitment to that type of organization. So that's been really, really good. So we've got the corporate membership. We implemented the chapter presidents where the presidents have the ability in each of the state chapters that if you've got somebody that's interested in the organization, sign them up. 90 days, give them a chance to see the value that you are as the members and the different things we've got in there. We've got some other, just to make sure I don't mess up my notes here. The main thing we want to do is just make sure that we give them that value and so they can each see the opportunity that we've got there. Another thing we've done with that is to be able to, anytime you refer somebody, we're going to give you, I think it's $50, is it? So $50 goes into the bank. You sign up 10 members, you got $500, apply that to the cost of the conference, to whatever it is, to your membership. So we've defined something like that to provide incentives there. You sign up a corporate member, $500 right into the bank. So we're trying to find ways. A lot of the feedback we get is people can't get out of state. They don't have the budget. They don't have this, but man, they sure love the organization, and they know that we do something good, so they want to share it. So if you share it, we're going to help you, reap that benefit as well. So another one that we put together, and working with Justin on that one, it was a really good idea, is some of the states have very small municipalities that don't even have an IT department. But they've got a vendor that they contract with that provides the IT services. So what we're saying is we will let that vendor, so Paul Ruth Computer Services, that provides IT for 6 cities that are very small, and there is no shop, and my company does it, that vendor can buy in chunks of 10 memberships into GMIS, $500. Okay, but they've got to be the small city. They don't have their own IT shop, that type of thing. And they then, as a benefit, when they say, I'm going to provide the service to you, then they can say, as a part of that, you are now part also of GMIS International. So it kind of expands that reach, and it gives them that benefit. So those are some good things that we've done as we reviewed the membership, and it's really kind of cool. 2 other things we implemented this year were the webinars. How many people had the opportunity to hit them? We do want to be able to continue those. So the idea is that we'll kind of start flipping between the 2. We'll do like a strategic focus, and we'll do a technical dive, and start being able to put those out quarterly so that you can dial in and just hop on, And whatever the topic is, if you've got particular topics you want to understand or you need to learn more about, let us know. We'll try and put one together. We're trying to work it with the vendors so they work through us to provide that. I know that every one of us get invitations to 20 webinars a week, and it's really hard to choose which ones we want to do. And half the time you do those, they're a sales pitch. At least, when we do this, we're focusing on the technical issue. We're doing it just like we do with the vendors here. Keep it agnostic. Keep it focused on the technology. Keep it focused on the strategic vision or whatever the leadership type thing is. And then let's provide it as a value to the members. So that's really pretty cool stuff. And then another thing to just kind of keep the communication lines open is we've been doing monthly chapter president calls so that we just have a open dialogue every month with the opportunity to just, do basically this, but also then to also find out information back and forth this way. But what's good is just like any other kind of transformation. I can remember years back in the Christian sense, we used to teach the transformation, and you always had the sign of the cross. The same thing here is not so much a Christian thing, but you needed the information and the dialogue going back and forth between GMIS International and the state, but the other part it gave you is the ability to reach out this way. And if South Carolina is doing something with some kind of PMI certification and linking together with that whole organization, you know what? In the 1 year we've talked about that, the New Mexico chapter is doing an agreement with PM and providing PMI certification as they do it from their state chapter. That's what we're talking about from this direction as well. So it's not just a talking back and forth to headquarters kind of deal. No, let's find a way that we also get it going this way as well. So that's really pretty cool stuff. And I just think it's good. We've had a lot of good things going on this year. It's been a tough year. These guys have worked hard. They've done amazing things. When I talk about the things they've done, those are the people right there that got it done. So I appreciate it, and I know a lot of you are the ones that got it done as you serve on the advisory councils and the different committees that we put together. Good stuff, good people. One of those things I like to say is it's always good to see good things happen to good people. This year was a good things happen, and these are good people. So I think that's really good. That's really kind of what we've done this past year. Just giving you a recap and just some remarks. It's been an honor to be able to serve with you guys and do that kind of stuff. So it's all good. Any questions about anything that I've gone over with you? I put it right there, so it's good stuff. And I put it right out here, so you guys are good. Okie doke. If there's none of that, I'm going to move on down the agenda. So on your tables, we have put a copy of the minutes. So if you've had a chance to take a look at them, but what we'll like to do is approve them. If you want, I can see about moving them up and put them on the screen as well. Does anybody not have a copy? Okay, we've got some coming around. Okay. Would you rather me put up on the screen? Yes. Yes, the minutes are, you can also view them online. Aren't they? You want me to put them up? Here goes. This is one of those things I don't like to do. Is it the Word document? All right. I fully realize I'm a talking head, you know? Like, know the limit of your abilities. And then don't demonstrate. So here's, if you want to be able to go through and yes, ma'am. Okay. So we've got, okay, so we've got a motion and are there any questions or any comments or any revisions to the minutes? Other hearing and seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and call the question. Everybody in favor? Anybody opposed? So, all right, let me see if I can see here. All right, okay, we good? I'm good. We got one, we got two. All right. Okay, so at this point, I'll call on Sherry to kind of go over a financial report with you.
I don't want to. Oh, I just need that out of the way. My boyfriend's picture off my iPad. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. Sorry, it's my old New Jersey talking. No. Wise guy. For those of you who didn't come to the meeting last year, let me just explain that over the last, I guess it's been 18 months, we changed our accounting method from cash to accrual. And what that means, when we do our books based on cash, when we receive money coming in or have money going out, it's recorded at that time. Whereas with accrual, for example, our Santa Fe conference happened to fall in June of 2011, but a lot of our money came in after the fact. So our finances show money in both years. Whereas, say, for this conference, we're all in this fiscal year, what are we, 13, 14? So just to give you a little bit of background there. I'm just going to give you some summary numbers. Anybody who's interested in the gory details, by all means, contact me. I'll give you a business card. I'm happy to send you the individual line items and categories that we've been keeping track of. Now, you should know that my function is essentially that of a watchdog, and that CMP management actually handles the writing of the checks, the keeping of the general ledger, and then, Brian will talk a little bit about the audit of all of that so that we keep everything in balance and on the up and up. So I do approve all of our expenditures. The board decides what to spend and when to spend it, but I do take a look at all of the transactions that come through, make sure we've got all the correct paperwork, that kind of thing. So as Paul had mentioned, we did do a little bit of a dip this past year. Our membership dues came in at $81,095, and our conference income for Chicago was $129,665. So that gave us a total income of $210,821.90. Our operating expenses were $107,556.70, and a good part of that is developing our international relationships. We do pay for some of those people to be able to attend our conference, as well as what we pay to CMP to help us manage the organization. Our conference expenses were $174,973.77, which gave us total expenses of $282,530.47. If you really want to know, that's a negative $71,708.57. On the brighter side is what we're projecting for this year and this conference, because most of our money does come from the conference. We're projecting about $105,000 in membership dues. As Paul said, we're trying to grow the membership, so we have increased that by a little bit. Our conference income was $214,690, and that's compared to $129,000 last year. So you can see these guys really did work their butts off to get vendors, sponsors here, and a lot more people attending the conference. So our income, we're hoping and projecting, will be $319,692.40. Our operating expenses are still a little bit higher than last year, $117,035. And the conference expenses were close to last year's, $180,064. So total expenses $297,099, which will put us in the black to the tune of about $22,593.40. So as Paul mentioned, we are starting to do an uptick, and we hope that that trend continues. Anybody have any questions? Excuse me? The balance in the bank? I say we have somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000 in the bank. I don't have that stuff here, but yeah, that we're within that range. And we have a lot more money coming in, right? We haven't received all our sponsor dollars or anything like that. It'll take probably a couple months before the books actually can close on the conference. Anybody else? Well, you know who I am and where I am, so like I said, if you need more details or have an interest in what makes up those numbers, by all means contact me.
Thanks, Sherry. All right. At this point, I'm going to call on Brian, and he'll come up and give an audit report. And basically what we do, and three members of the board actually go through and do a review of the book. So this is going to be a report on what we've had there. Come on, Brian. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to give you a summary of what we audit, as Paul said, the audit committee consists of 3 members from the board. We do try to keep some consistency. So, for example, last year I was on the audit committee. Janet was the chair. She spent 2 years on the audit committee, and then I became the chair this year. This year we started off the audit with a manual that Janet prepared that documents the audit process officially. We had never had that previously, and gives us a guideline to follow in regards to the audit. And what we look at is we look at the transaction detail report that shows every single transaction, revenue coming in, expenditures going out. We randomly choose transactions to audit. Every member on the audit committee is given a period of time during the year to audit so that we cover the entire year. We choose random transactions, deposits, and expenditures, and then we audit those transactions against bank statements, receipts, and other types of forms that are unique to that type of transaction. We review those transactions. We make sure that everything balances out. We make sure that everything is correctly documented If there are any questions that we have, we address those with either Sherry or CMP. The audit chair, myself, reviews the prior year's audit report and any recommendations that came from that. We confirm the accuracy of the IRS Form 990 that gets filed for that year that we're auditing. We confirm the signing authority for all accounts. We make sure that that's restricted to the president, the treasurer, the executive secretary. So we're looking at internal controls. We also confirm the appropriate distribution of duties between the treasurer and the executive secretary for GMIS International. For fiscal year 2012, after review of transactions and other documents, we found all records and documents that were reviewed were in good order. No discrepancies or errors were found in the records audited. All information required and requested by the audit committee was provided in a timely manner. Deposits and receipts audited had backup documentation and were authorized as required by board policy. Support documents were scanned and loaded into GMIS International's board's online files so that we could review everything. While we did not find any errors or problems, which is great, we do have a major recommendation. And this comes, I think, from the previous year as well. The prior year's audit committee that I served on under Janet's leadership, we started to really scrutinize the audit process and to look at